What's up, guys? Welcome back. So right now I am still sitting on the floor of my beauty room. My beauty room is still a absolute disaster. So here we are. For today's video, I am so excited because this is probably one of my favorite series that I have ever started on my channel. And that is where I test out your product recommendations. Now, if you have no idea what the series is all about, in the past, I have asked you guys on Twitter and on Instagram what your favorite products were from each category. And then I would either take the most popular response or I would just take products that just generally intrigued me. I would buy them, I would try them out on camera. I think it's just really cool to be able to get you guys like directly involved in a video. So since starting this series, I've been wanting to do the same idea, but instead of taking recommendations for your favorite products, I wanted to take your recommendations for your least favorite products. So the products that I'm gonna be putting on my face today, some of them I have never tried, so they're completely brand new to me. Some of them I have actually tried, and I'm gonna be showing you guys how I like to make them work, just so this video could be a little bit more helpful. So hopefully these tips that I'm gonna be sharing with you guys today will sort of just give you a new idea on how to use these products if you also experience the same problems with them, and maybe it'll save you a few bucks. So that's my goal for today's video. I hope you guys are gonna enjoy it. Let me know what other like testing my subscribers recommendations themes you'd like to see me do in the comment section down below. Give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and of course subscribe if you're not subscribed already and you want to be part of the fam. So without further ado, I'm gonna zoom you guys in and we're gonna get started. I actually forgot to ask you guys what your least favorite primer was, so we're just gonna skip on over that. I'm going to talk about foundation. Now, there were a lot of foundations that you guys said that you didn't like. Really popular one was the Wet n Wild Photo Focus, which blew my mind because I love that foundation and a lot of people really love it too. So I feel like it's sort of like a polarizing product. Either you love it or you hate it. And I also realized why people get offended when you talk about products that they really like but you don't like. Because my feelings were hurt. Another really popular foundation that you guys were saying that you didn't like was the Kat Von D Lock-It foundation. And I could totally relate to this because I also am not the biggest fan of this foundation. It's very, very matte and it's very full coverage, which are sort of the two things that I don't like. I prefer more of a light to medium coverage foundation, and I like something a little bit more dewier. Really great way to sheer out a foundation that is this full coverage and thick and matte is by taking more of a glowy primer or just like a glowy product. In this case, I'm gonna be taking the Pixi Glotion Day Dew and just mixing it together. And this will sheer it out significantly, and it will also give the foundation a little bit more of a glow. So I'm just gonna pump out a little bit of the foundation on the back of my hand. About that much. And now I'm also going to take some of the Glotion Day Dew and I'm gonna put about 2 pumps of that, way more of this product than the actual foundation, and then I'm just gonna mix it together. This is also a great way just to make more use out of your foundation. So you could have one foundation that is quite a full coverage and you could use it full coverage on the days that you want that amount of coverage, or you could share it out on like an everyday basis so you sort of get more use out of that one product. So I'm just going to start off by dotting this product all over my face. My face is also very well moisturized right now. That is another huge tip that I have for you guys. You could have a really beautiful foundation, but if your skin is not prepped properly, it just will not look good no matter what you do. Skincare is like the basis for everything. I also like using this product with a beauty blender because again, it just like shears it out a little bit. So I'm just going to lightly dab in a small amount of product. So that's like a super sheer amount of coverage. So now I'm going to just take some on my sponge and dot it where I feel like I want a little bit more coverage. And for me, that's my cheek area, around my nose, on my actual nose, and my chin. Basically like the center of my face. So here's what my skin looks like after using such a small amount of product, and you can see it has a really nice amount of glow. All my redness is covered, but my skin still looks natural, and that was by using the most full coverage and matte foundation that I probably have in my collection, and I was able to get this like natural glowy look. So there you have it. That's like a really good example of how to completely change a foundation that may not work for you at all into something that you like, because for me, this is perfect. Okay, so for my concealer today, I'm going to be using the Joe Fresh Illuminating Concealer. So what's pretty funny about this concealer is that I actually originally bought this for testing my subscribers' favorite makeup because somebody said it was one of their faves, and I actually got it recommended to me again but for this video. So this is just a really great example to show you guys that even if somebody loves a product, there's gonna be somebody else out there who really, really hates it. So it's always so important to try out products for yourself before you completely write it off. A tip that I have just like in general for concealer that I find really personally helps me out quite a lot is actually applying an eye cream underneath the concealer. I just find it sits better underneath my eyes. It stops it from creasing as much, and it just makes everything look so much more hydrated. So one of my favorite under eye creams for hydration is this Kiehl's Creamy Eye Treatment with avocado. And then you're just gonna pat that underneath the eyes. So like I said, this is from Joe Fresh and it is the illuminating concealer and I'm using the shade Light. I have never used this before, so I don't know how it's gonna be. It smells fine. Okay, the color isn't great. It's a little bit peachy, which could be a okay thing because peachy tones do correct blue tones underneath the eyes, but I feel like it's a little bit too peachy. I'm not really sure. I'm gonna take the same sponge that I use for my foundation and just sort of pat that in. It reminds me a lot of the Bare Minerals Bare Skin Serum Concealer. It has that same just very hydrated consistency to it. It's definitely not a fail for me. I feel like I do like it. I sort of wanna get another shade though. I just wanna see if I could build this up a little bit because it definitely doesn't have a ton of coverage. It is actually a little bit buildable. But yeah, I really like that consistency. It looks nice. I'm not mad at this. So now moving on to powder. Now powder was a super easy category for me to choose from because a lot of you guys were talking about the exact same product, and that was the e.l.f. loose finishing powder. So the only loose finishing powder that I was able to find is this one, and it's the like HD finishing powder. Now I feel like in general, loose powders can be a little bit tricky as far as making you look cakey. In my experience, pressed powders are a little bit less likely to make your face look cakey, whereas loose powders I find settle way more into fine lines on the face, which just sort of can age the face, make you look a little bit more heavy, which is not the look that any of us want, right? So I actually do have a good tip for loose powder that I learned in makeup school, and that is using a powder puff. Now this is a very poor excuse for a powder puff. If you actually want to get a good powder puff, you could probably get them at like beauty supply stores. They're a lot bigger, more fluffier. This is just the one that came in the little powder. Powder puffs are really great because I find you are really able to press the product into the skin. You'll end up using a lot less product and just overall it'll give the face like a lighter look. So what you want to do is you want to take some of your powder. In this case, we're taking this e.l.f. loose finishing powder. I'm going to put it into the puff. Just so like a small amount, nothing crazy. And then what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna fold it like a taco and rub the powder puff together so that the powder is sort of being pushed into the puff, I guess. Then you're going to flick the powder puff to knock off the excess product. And then lastly, you're basically just going to press and roll the powder puff onto your skin to set your face. This will set your makeup, but it'll stop you from using a crazy amount of product, so it'll stop you from looking incredibly cakey. Now, personally, I don't even really use powder all that often just because my skin is super dry and I just prefer the look without it. But if you are oily or if you just like to set your face with powder, I highly recommend testing this trick out because it is honestly a game changer. Do I like this powder that I just put on my face? I'm indifferent. I don't really love it. I don't really hate it. Like I said, I don't really love powder in general. There's very few powders that I actually like applying to my face. This one didn't really make me feel any type of way. I actually personally really like to apply setting spray after I apply my base products. So when I'm done applying my foundation, my concealer, and my powder, I will go with my setting spray and spray my face just because I feel like it will make everything that I just applied look a lot more natural, and then I will spray my face at the very end of doing my makeup. So for my setting spray today, I'm taking the Pixi Glow Mist. This is another product that a lot of you guys said you didn't like, not really because of the product itself, but because of the spray, like the nozzle. It's a little bit aggressive. And I don't know if they changed it because this is a newer bottle of mine and the spray is a lot better than what it used to be. But a little tip that I have for you guys, this is a pretty obvious one, nothing too out of the box, but if you have a setting spray that you like, but the nozzle is just really shitty, transfer it into a bottle that you actually like and relabel it, and that way you won't completely waste the product. Yeah, it's a little bit little bit of a wet nozzle. So next I'm going to bronze up my face, and for my bronzer today I'm taking the Benefit Hoolie Quickie Contour Stick. This is actually one of my favorite bronzing products. First of all, cream contour bronzer products are tricky in general. It's never as easy as dusting a powder bronzer all over the face, but it could look really, really beautiful if applied in the correct way. First of all, I just want to say, even though this is called a Quickie Contour Stick, I would not consider this to be a very good contour color. For me, this is definitely way more of a bronzer color. It's very, very warm. Usually when you contour, you want to use something that's a little bit more neutral or cool tone just to actually mimic a shadow. Now, if you're having trouble applying cream bronzer products, try not applying it directly from the tube to the face and then blending it out, because sometimes that can move the foundation underneath. It could dry a little bit too quickly, so you won't be able to get like a seamless look. So even though I personally really like to draw it on my face and blend it out, that may not work for everybody. So another little tip is to actually sort of just warm it up on the back of your hand. Take an angled brush, pick up the product from the back of your hand, and then go in to apply it. And this is gonna apply a small amount of product at a time, and it's gonna give a very nice natural look. And instead of swiping, I actually like to sort of just tap, especially for a cream product, just because I don't wanna move all of the foundation that I have underneath. See how just natural that looks? It's super easy. This is definitely a really, really, really great way to apply creams. So for highlighter, I'm going to be using the holographic stick from Milk. I personally don't love this product either. I've used it, I think, only once or twice. It's also not holographic. It's purple iridescent. I think a big problem that a lot of people have with cream highlighters is that they will actually draw it on the face directly, which is totally fine. But if you do have a lot of makeup underneath, it will pull the foundation off as you're dragging it across your skin. The only time that I would recommend dragging a cream highlighter across the face is if you're wearing very, very minimal makeup or no makeup at all. For a product like this, I will just take my finger, sort of just warm it up, and then I will dot it on the tops of my cheekbones like this. So like I said, I also don't really love this product. I don't really like highlighters that have color shifts, unless they're pink. If it's anything but pink, it's just not my favorite. So even after like blending this product out and like really pushing it into the skin, I still feel like it always looks like a purple stripe on the tops of the cheekbones. All right, it's time to actually move on to the eyes. I totally forgot that I had to put on eyeshadow. Now, it was overwhelming how many of you guys mentioned the Naked palettes as some of your least favorite palettes. Specifically, Naked 3 was a really, really popular one. Now, I was actually supposed to have decluttered this in my eyeshadow declutter video that I posted probably almost a year ago at this point, and I never got rid of it because I am a hoarder. Even though I literally never reach for them, and I don't even particularly like the Naked palettes, I feel like I just can't get rid of them, and I don't know why. In the Naked collection, my favorite is definitely the Naked Heat. That one is fantastic, but the Naked 3 is probably one of my least favorites just because of the color combos in here. A lot of the shades in here look very, 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 very similar to one another. So I'm first gonna go into the shade Limit, and I'm gonna use this as my transition shade. See, I think that my main issue with this palette really is that you can't get a ton of looks out of it. I feel like when I look at this palette, all I see are everyday colors. I don't really see anything that I can make like a super smoky eye with. And I think that's what a lot of people get frustrated by when they see this palette. Now I'm going to go into the shade Nooner, which is that like mid-tone matte. And I'm just gonna apply this into my crease and a little bit on that outer corner. See, I feel like these eyeshadows are actually blending really, really nicely. I'm gonna take the same color and just sort of sweep that underneath my lower lash line. So now for all over my lid, I'm gonna take the shade Dust, which is the second shade right over here on my finger, and just pop that all over my lid. Okay, I'm just gonna go off camera now. I'm gonna do my brows. I'm gonna come back. We're gonna do the lips and the mascara, and then we're gonna be all done. Bang Gal Bang from Benefit. This mascara, a lot of you guys were saying that this is like the clumpiest mascara that you've ever put on your lashes, and I have to agree. This mascara is the wettest formula I have ever found in a mascara, and because the bristles are so short, it sort of doesn't separate the lashes. So combining those two things together just creates very clumpy, spidery lashes. But I do find that it lasts really well on the eyes. It doesn't like smudge or flake or anything like that. And I also find it's really, really black. So I'm gonna show you guys how I make this mascara work. So because this is such a wet formula, you have to wipe off the mascara wand and take off the excess product before going in to apply it to your lashes. Do one pass of the mascara wand through the Kleenex, take off the excess, and then I will go in to apply it. And that is the only way that I'm able to make this mascara look good on my lashes. And once you do that, I actually quite like the way the mascara looks because it makes your lashes look very, 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 very voluminous and very intense. I would also suggest though not building it up too much because it just will make it look a little bit clumpy, but that's what it looks like, just built up a little bit and with all the excess taken off. So guys, we are almost done. Now, the last thing that we have to do are the lips. Couldn't help but notice that almost every single comment for the lip category was for a liquid lipstick. And I totally feel you guys on this because I also really don't like liquid lipsticks. There are very few that I actually are okay with that don't make my lips feel like they are falling off my face. When liquid lipsticks were like at its peak of popularity, I bought so many shades because, I mean, they were really popular. Everybody was wearing them. So obviously you want to like join in on the trend. I'm sure a lot of you guys probably did the same thing. You bought a ton of liquid lipsticks and you realized that you didn't really like them so much. So this is another way that you could use them so that they don't go to waste. For today, I'm gonna take the Stila Stay All Day liquid lipstick in the shade Caramello. I adore this shade. So first of all, you wanna make sure that your lips are really nicely exfoliated. Now, I am too lazy to go up and get my lip exfoliator, but just know if I wasn't, I would be exfoliating my lips right now. Then you're gonna wanna go in with a lip balm. It doesn't matter which one, just any lip balm. So now I'm gonna take my liquid lipstick and put it on the back of my hand. And I like to apply just a super thin layer of the product with my finger. So I'm gonna just go in, dab a little bit on my finger, and just apply it like this. And I find this just really works the product into the lip, and it allows you to apply a super thin layer of the product. And with liquid lipsticks, the thinner the layer, the more comfortable it's going to be and the less crusty it's gonna look. Now, obviously, this is not the best thing to do if you're using like a super bright and bold color because you're not gonna get like a super precise lip line. But with nude lipsticks, I find for me anyway, I'm able to get away with it because then I will go in with a lip liner and sort of just define the outer corners of my lips so that it still looks really nice and crisp. So I'm just gonna take this lip liner from Wet n Wild. It is in the shade Bear to Comment, and I'm just gonna line my lips. You don't really care about it looking matte and you just wanna use it because the color is so pretty. Like this one, I really, really love the color. Then I would recommend putting the lip balm on top of your lips again because it'll just keep them feeling good and nice and hydrated. It won't give too much of a shine, but it'll just, you know, take away that drying feeling. So that finishes off the look. I actually really, really love this eye look that I've got going on. I may just keep the Naked 3 palette out so that I could recreate this because it's just such a perfect, like, everyday mauve pink look. I can't stop looking at it in my monitor. It's so pretty. I surprisingly don't hate the way my skin looks. I feel like I definitely have better foundation combos, but I mean, compared to what this would have looked like if I just would have went in straight in with the foundation, I'm okay with it. So guys, I really hope that you found this video informative and helpful and just fun and entertaining all at once. Don't forget to let me know all of your thoughts down below. Again, let me know what theme for this series you'd like to see me tackle next. If you try any of these products with the tips that I gave you guys and they end up actually working for you, I would really love to know. You can either comment down below or send me a tweet, DM, on Instagram, whatever. I just love always hearing what you guys have to say. So that is it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.